having a blast. So we want to definitely welcome you to come, and thank you for coming out. First of all, Emerald, I thought that was great. And it's amazing to see you find your voice. You know, when we first met was at the NBA All-Star Weekend in New York. And we were at Canaan Baptist Church, 2,500 black and brown young men. And it was right after everything happened. And I wanted Emerald to come and feel the support from the community. And she didn't really want to talk. And I said, listen, you don't have to talk, just come and you'll just feel the support. And if you feel like talking, then just give me a little signal. And so she said a little bit, and that was like the birth of everything, right? And then she started finding her voice. Talk about the process that you've gone through of finding your voice.
Lights. Turn the lights first. Turn the lights back on.
Hello? Okay. Like I said in the video, the part that wasn't playing the audio was a little messed up, but in the beginning, the first march that we did was in DC, and I co-chaired that march, along with National Action Network and a bunch of other organizations, where we got buses from a couple of cities. I think about over 5 cities, we got buses to come down to DC, and we did a big march. And I rode back on the huddle bus. So that march took place on what day were we on a Friday? I think it was on like a Friday or a Saturday. And then that following Monday, I started coming to huddle. And I started coming to huddle, and I never stopped. And it was like I was coming every week, and it was like every week I would just say a little bit more, say a little bit more, say a little bit more, and it was like, okay, I could do this, I could do a little chatting, but then it started to become overwhelming for me because it was repetitive. We weren't getting the justice we deserved, so I got frustrated, and then my sister passed away, and then I had everything piled on top of me. I took my niece and my nephew, so now I'm a mom of 3, so it was just a lot going on. So as Etan said, when he invited me out, I was not talking, I was not speaking, I had to find my voice. Like I literally had to have people come to me and say, your voice is powerful, you need to speak more. And this was like, after Erica passed away, because Erica was the warrior. She was the one that was hitting the streets and the mic. And she was doing it all. And I was like, Erica, I can't do all that. I got a job, I got rent, I got a kid. I'll take the kids. I took Alyssa when Erica was going out there. Okay, Erica, go out there. You want to go on the bridge? Go ahead, I got the kids. And that's how it was. So after Erica passed away, I just feel like her spirit came through me that day when I was with my bag and my purse. That was straight Erica. I don't know where that came from. I walked out the place. I was like, I was in the meeting. They didn't say what I wanted to hear. I asked them, I said, are you prosecuting the cop or not? And they was like, no. So I was like, what I'm here for? I threw my book and everything. I was like, what I'm here for? Y'all came tell me the same thing that y'all told me last time. So I left out and I was like, I went down the elevator, walked down the street, and I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of this. And all of this. And y'all saw it in the video. Y'all saw how I felt. And it was just like, I feel like that needed to happen. 30 days later, Pantaleon was fired.
They heard you.
They heard me.
Give a round of applause. Give a round of applause. And, Ms. Issa, I want to be able to ask you this because I asked you it before, and since we just saw Reverend Sharpton, and I mean, Reverend Sharpton gets a lot of criticism all the time in our community. And everything that I've seen when speaking to the family members of the victims of police brutality, you all talk about him in these shining, type of expressions where he is there to help. I see him helping, especially when, he's helping at a time when it seems like nobody else is helping. And I want y'all to talk about that part because I do want to touch on that because he gets so much criticism all the time.
You want me to take that?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Going back to the day that it happened, I was in shock. I didn't know what was what. I was just hearing so many stories of what happened and where is he and go here and go there, and I was just so confused, and I was just like, I sat in front of my building and I'm like, I'm gonna wait for him to call me and tell me where to go. I'm gonna wait for him to call me, but that call never came through. I got a call from someone else that said they just put him in the ambulance and took him to the hospital. Meet him at the hospital. So I'm like, okay, my girlfriend in the building, she jumped in the cab with me. I went to the hospital. Moving forward from there, you know, I went home, I was distraught. Like, you know, I didn't want to stay in my apartment. You know, it was too many memories. Everywhere I looked, I just saw his face. I heard his voice. I felt his presence. It was just, after being married to somebody for 23 years, and for them to go to work one morning and say, babe, I'll see you later, which is something you used to hearing every single day. But that particular day, he asked me for a kiss, and he, out of all the years that we've been married, he never asked me for a kiss. He either took it or didn't get one. That was it. You know, and when I, after everything happened and everything, that Friday, it happened on a Thursday, that Friday I just, you know, was crying and, you know, everybody coming to the house, giving the condolences and, you know, so on and so forth. And then Saturday morning, I got a knock on the door, and it was Reverend Sharpton. And you know, I just see Reverend Sharpton on TV, you know, I see him on the PJs, I done seen him on, you know, everything that I watch on TV. I'm like, hey, this thing pops up all over the place. And I'm like looking through the people, and I'm like, is that really Reverend Sharpton? And he's like, yeah, Mrs. Garner, open the door. And cause I wanted to go open the door. I don't know, I would be catfish, I didn't know what was going on. I'm looking out, and I open the door, and you know, he's like, I'm here in any capacity that you need me. Whatever it is that you need. You know, I never had nobody come to me and tell me that they were gonna give me whatever I wanted, whatever I needed, just to make sure that I'm stress-free. You know, and that's what he's been to me. I used to say daddy dad, but then I found out that we were too close in age, so then I said, okay, you gotta be my big brother now. You know, and he calls me his little sister, and we have our own relationship. I can call him in the middle of the night, he'll answer his phone. I could call him 4:30 in the morning when he's working out, having his fruit bowls and his hot tea, you know, running on the treadmill. I can call him in the middle of his TV show. He might not answer me then, but as soon as he get off that TV show, you know, that TV show, he's gonna call me and he saw what happened, you know. And it's like, he's been there for me and he's still there for me 5 years later. There is nothing in this world that I have asked for or needed or wanted or anything that Reverend Sharpton wasn't there 100%. If he couldn't be there physically, he sent somebody in his place. If he can't send somebody in his place, he said, can you possibly make it another day? And I promise I'll be there, you know? And everybody come, oh, you know, when you get your money, you're gonna have to pay them back. And I say, you know what? People go by what they hear and not what they know. Okay? I know for a fact, and people should know too, he got TV shows, he got radio shows, he's mentioned in every cartoon, every TV show, everything, you know what I'm saying? You hear Reverend Al Sharpton all over the place. I was watching Everybody Hates Chris, and he said, something happened, and he said, well, maybe I should have called Al Sharpton. You know what I'm saying? That man got more money than the law allows. He don't need my money. He don't need no victim's money. You know what I'm saying? He don't need taxes. He paid his damn taxes. If he didn't, they would have got him a long time ago. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so it bothers me too. It bothers me. I go on the internet and I answer. And I comment.
She claps back, y'all.
Yeah, I clap back all the time for Rev, you know, and even with his daughters, you know, I'd be like, Dominique, did you hear what they said about Rev Sharpton? And she'd be like, Issa, don't worry about it, we used to it. You know, don't let it bother you. And I'd be like, I can't, because I'm not the type to bite my tongue. You know, so it's hard for me to just sit back and say nothing. Shut up, Emma. That's where you get it from. That's why I'm on this. But Reverend Sharpton and the National Action Network, and I'm not even gonna say the media, because me and the media don't get along, because they done said some things that didn't come out of my mouth and twisted it around and made it sound this way. It's like texting somebody something and them taking it in, but not the way you meant it. You know, taking your words out of context. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I fell back, you know, about 2 years ago. I stopped doing interviews. I stopped going places and doing things. Because me, I'm on grandma mode, you know what I'm saying? I just want to do grandma things. I want to go, you know, spend time with the grandkids, and I like to gamble. So I run to Atlantic City and do this and that. You know what I'm saying? That's my happiness, you know? Shut up. So it's legal. So, you know, with that being said, like you say, Etan, a lot of people have misconceptions about Reverend Sharpton.
Right.
And I've seen nothing but good. I've had people stop me on the street and try to tell me things that he's done years ago. And I just look at them and say, girl, bye. You know, or I say, if that's the way you feel, you're entitled to your opinion. But don't try to project your opinion on me. Don't try to make me see how I feel about Reverend Sharpton. You know what I'm saying? And like I tell everybody, I don't do interviews and stuff. But if the Rev called me and say, Issa, I need you to come with me, do MSNBC, I'm there. Arthritis, in pain, pain pills in my pocket, whatever, I'm there. Whatever he needs me to do, whatever he asks me to do, I always do.
And I'm glad you said that and made that clear for people, because like you said, people have a lot of misconceptions and things that they hear and they just repeat it, and it goes like rapid fire, and they'll have no facts and everything like that. And so you speak right to the source and hear from them as far as their dealings with Reverend Sharpton. Now, Eric, you're finding your voice as well. I heard you tell a story when we was on the Karen Hunter show, and it's a story that I haven't really heard. And we have a lot of guys that are athletes, and they'll relate really to the story that you tell. Tell a story that you told on air about where you were when you heard, and how your teammates responded to you, and that whole process that happened. Because I had never heard you tell that story before.
Hi, everybody doing? I was at a championship basketball game when I got the news. Well, I didn't get the news till I got in the house, but everybody that was like on the bus with me on the way back already heard. Like my phone was already like in my bag. I didn't pull it out. We just won the championship. We was like on our way back, and this is like, you know what I mean? Like everybody was just looking at me funny. So like as everybody looking at me, I didn't know what to expect until like I got into the house.
And then what happened after that?
Like my mom's told me, and then like I had to attend college. I was going to college on a scholarship, so it was like 2 weeks later I had to go to school. And like I just stayed in my room for the rest of the 2 weeks that I was home. Then I went to school. That was it.
Actually, he was the first one to hear it. Because he came in the room and he said to me, he said, Mom, you still gonna give me that $20 you said you were gonna give me yesterday? I got a game. So I said, yeah, just go in my pocket and take the $20. And he left. But when he walked out the door, we lived on the first floor, so for him to go outside and come back in like at 2.5, you know, he went outside, he came back in, and he said, Mom, call Daddy. I said, call him for what? I just spoke to him. He said he's coming in early. I'm not going to bother him. Let him do what he do. I'll see him later. He said, nah, Ma, I just heard that he got choked out on Bay Street. And I'm like, huh? And that's when my phone started ringing. I had 2 phones at the time, and it was just, both phones was just ringing. And that's how, you know, I was like, my eyes got open to what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. I had just came in the house. I was watching TV, relaxing, and he walked outside, and he was like, Mom, call Daddy, you know, because I just heard that the cops choked Daddy out on Bay Street. And it was like, huh? You know, and that was at 2:45. I can't forget the time, because I was watching People's Court, one of my favorite shows. I was watching the People's Court, and it was like 2:45, and mind you, I had just talked to him at like about 2:30, maybe about 2:30, something like that. I had just spoke to him, and he was telling me, I'm coming in early because the cops are rolling around and they messing with me, so I'm coming in. And I said, Eric, just coming out, call it an early day. And 3 o'clock is when I got the phone call to go to the hospital, and that, you know, he was at the hospital. They didn't say, to this day, I haven't seen past the first 3 minutes of the video. I can't watch it. You know, I can't watch it. You know, I don't know. You know, people have come to me and told me, you know, his eyes rolled back, he went limp, you know, he was already gone before they put it. I don't know that. I didn't see it for myself. But just to hear it and knowing what kind of person he was, he didn't deserve that on any level. You know, regardless to, I know people that shot police, shot with police, fight with police, throw things at police, and they still walking around to tell about it. You know what I'm saying? My husband was a boxer. Good and well, if he wanted to resist arrest, he could have punched a couple of them cops out, and if, I swear I know my husband. If he would have knew that that was his last breath that he was taking, he would have went all out. He would not have stood there, you know what I'm saying, and let them do what they did. He would have just, you know, but he had no idea that that was going to be his last words and his last breath, you know, so, excuse me, y'all.
No, that's all right. That's all right. And talking about it and the way that you have your strength, and this is one thing that I've expressed to Emerald. Her strength has been inspirational for other people. And Alton Sterling's son, in particular, was really inspired by your words and your strength and your courage. Talk about how this, as difficult as it is, you kind of took it on to continue doing as you've seen the inspiration happen and how it's been therapeutic for you. I want you to really touch on that, because the therapy part is a part that in our community, we don't really seek therapy the way that we should. We have all types of trauma going on, and we don't really do therapy just as a whole. But talk about that, how much that has benefited you to speak about it, and the inspiration that you've had for other people.
Well, going back to Alton Sterling's son, he has an older son. I think he was about 13, 14 at the time. I went to an event and I met him. And this was after me going to speak a little bit. I went to Franklin K. Lane that week to go speak, and then after that, it was Huddle, and then it was that event where I met him, and he was like, you know, I feel so passionate to speak because my father, he said, I'm the oldest of all my father's kids, and he has a lot of young kids after me, and it's inspiring for me to see another victim who's a child. He's like, you know, I'm not calling you a kid, but another child of the movement, pretty much. And it's like, you know, in Sean Bell's situation, his daughters were young. In Mike Brown's situation, he didn't have no kids. Amadou Diallo, I don't think he had any children. Right. And as like, you know, going on, it's like, you know, a lot of people forget about the kids. Just the other day, me and my brothers were sitting there, and the lady was like, are you guys relatives of Eric Garner? And I'm like, we're his children. Like, you know, like it was like, you know, sometimes people often forget that Eric Garner was a grown man with a wife and children. So, you know, like, it's like, you know, he brought me back to that, and it was like, oh, right, we do have a voice. And like I said, a lot of people like to speak for us. And he was the one that kind of turned me on, like, it kind of clicked to me, like, I have a voice too, and what I say matters. And it's like, you know, who's better to represent Eric Garner than his children? We are a combination of Eric and Esau. He created us, he raised us. I have 22 years of memories with my father. Not 2, not 3. He was never an absentee father. He was never not there. I don't know what it is to be a fatherless child. I don't know what that means. So it's like he brought me to like I would say back to reality because I was just so spaced out. I was at a point in my life where I was spaced out. And when Etan talks about the therapy part, Etan knows, I text him all the time. I'm very impulsive, I'm very angry, I'm very aggressive, and I snap at the drop of a dime. I really do. And I'm the type of person, I don't think first, I act first. So I try to think like an adult. Like I tell Etan, I'm gonna grow up one day. Might not be today, but I'm gonna grow up one day. So
Your mother ain't grow up yet.
exactly. We all children out here, you know? Like honestly, I give the adulthood back and take my childhood, but you know, we past that now. But as the therapy part goes, it's good to talk to somebody. Because I put my daughter in therapy first, and one time I kicked her out of her session, and I was like, listen, Miss Sydney, I need to talk to you. Miss Sydney, I need to talk to you right now. I'm going through it, and I'm about to do something stupid. And she's like, no, Miss Knights, let's go, let's talk. And ever since that day, I've always had a listening ear. So if somebody say, like, you know, I tell everybody all the time, if I hear one more, I got you, sis, I'm gonna have a problem. Because all the people that say I got you, they don't be there. But this man right here, Reverend Sharpton, I call him for anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Even like I have some of my coworkers here that have known me since I've been at the founding, and they know, they can see, like, you know, I'm stressed out, things are not going the way I need it to go, or I'm having an issue in my personal life when it comes to the kids, when it comes to me, when it comes to therapy, when it comes to bills, when it comes to doctor's appointments, anything. Transporting all three of these kids is very hard on public transportation. It's very hard. But I get to have somebody listen to me. Like, these are my struggles. Like, I gotta go from the Bronx to Harlem to Chelsea, from Chelsea to Harlem to the Bronx. That's my schedule every day. Because I have to go to work, drop the kids off, go to work, pick them up, and then go home. So that's my schedule every day, and that's been my schedule since I got them. So it's overwhelming, it's stressful, especially when you're doing it by yourself. So it's like, you know, I get friends to help me. I get family to help me. I drop them off at my mother's house and then leave. She don't have a car. She can't chase me. So I can just drop them off and be out. So I'm utilizing that. She said she want to be grandma of the year. She can have it all year. But I'm just saying, like, it's therapeutic to have somebody to talk to. Like, you need an outside entity. Not your friend that you're going to say, I'm having these crazy thoughts and I feel like I'm being impulsive and I want to choke somebody or I want to punch somebody in the face. It's like, it's good. It's okay to feel that way. But you talking to your friends, they be like, get out of here, you crazy. Get out of here, shut up. Or, we're not listening to you. But the therapist is going to be like, oh yeah? So tell me, how do you want to resolve that? And then they'll talk you around to you coming up with your own solutions. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't even think about it that way. Like, you're right. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's your opportunity to say how you feel. I feel like punching people in the face all the time. I'm not going to do it, but that's how I feel. Maybe I should get a punching bag. Maybe I should get a bozo. That's one of the solutions that my therapist told me. Maybe you should get something to punch so you don't punch somebody. So that's basically like how they give you other ways of dealing with things. Like, you know, half of the time you walk around, maybe you don't like somebody's attitude, but you don't gotta tell them you don't like their attitude. You could just not like their attitude and keep pushing. You can avoid that person in every way because you just don't like them. Everybody's not gonna like everybody. Everybody is not for everybody, and I'm a testament to it. I'm a true Capricorn. You rub me the wrong way, I'm done with you for life. But that doesn't mean that I can't work with you. That doesn't mean that if we fight for justice for Eric Garner, we can stand on the same stage, or we can march at the same march, or we can talk about the same thing, or I can have you on a panel so you can talk about your stuff. There's no reason why anybody can't put that to the side, because if we fighting for justice, we all fighting for the same thing. We all fighting for everybody. Everybody. We all stick together. And I'm a railing back in because I'm a little chatty, as you can see. But it's just like, you know, talk about it. I'm talking to y'all guys. If y'all see one of these people here and you don't feel like you don't want to talk to them, call Mr. Arthur. Where's Mr. Arthur? Mr. Arthur will listen to you. Mr. Arthur ain't a therapist, but you could come vent. You could say whatever, and I promise you it won't leave that conversation. Or you come talk to Patrice. That's who I talk to all the time. I done told Rev, I don't even want to deal with Patrice right now because I don't want to deal with too many people. When it came to my sister's funeral, my mother dumped everything on me. Emerald, do the funeral, do the clothes, do the this, do the that. And Patrice was with me every step of the way. She listened to me, and nothing that I ever said to her came back to me. So you call her right here on this National Action Network phone, say I'm from the Boys Club, and Emerald said to call you. And she gonna answer, I promise you. She's somebody who's always there for people. table. She's always there. Like, I called her 2 o'clock in the morning. I had asthma attack. I was in the hospital, and she's like, I'm on my way. I was like, you don't have to come. You don't have to be on your way. She showed up anyway, and she stayed with me until I got discharged. When I did my sister's funeral, she stayed with me till it was all over. 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm crying, I'm emotional, I'm this, I'm that. Call Patrice. My mother, when she need a prayer or two, I be like, listen, don't call me. Call Patrice, because listen, she gonna get you through it. And anytime, like, I'm opening her doors to y'all. Even if you wanna call me. Call me. If you want to vent, it's all right. I won't tell your parents that you're cursing. It's okay. But you have to talk to somebody.
Right.
What I used to do is I used to write it down and burn it. I don't advise you to do that because fire is not safe. It's not safe. But what I do, I write it, rip it. That's how you let it go. And that's what I used to do. Like, everybody used to know I used to rip notebooks.
Say it, forget it, write it.
Exactly. Write it and throw it out. Because you have to get those out. You have to get it out.
Say it, forget it, write it, regret it. Yes.
That's good.
That's why you rip it up so nobody can see it. Nobody should
Every
read it.
text, let me tell you, I got every phone that I ever had. From flip phone
There she go with the phone.
to iPhone. Okay?
Talk about
Everyone will
receipts.
call me and say, Mom, you still got that text from me? I
Sure do. Sure do.
2011, 6:45, Daddy said what? Oh, yeah. Remember he said that? Oh, yeah, that's why I say.
She always put up those.
Say it, forget it. You can say anything you want to say, and you know, it can be forgotten. But when you write something down, be sure when you write it that you don't regret it after you know it.
Yep.
And here's the thing. They're still in the grieving process.
Absolutely.
And the problem is that people want to tell you how you're supposed to grieve and how you're supposed to act and how you're supposed to deal with trauma. And this is what y'all are going to see, where people think that they know the answer of how you're supposed to conduct yourself and how you're supposed to respond. There are going to be things that you deal with that you don't want to talk to anybody. That's why we're stressing for you to find positive outlets, because there are a lot of negative ways that you can deal with stress. There are a lot of negative ways that people deal, we'll say athletes, when things don't go, you know, everybody ever had a bad game?
Yes.
Right, all right. So you have a bad game. Imagine 1 million people telling you that you have a bad game. Imagine 1 million.
A million people telling you your father deserved it.
Right.
Or your father resisted.
Or your father resisted, right? Oh, if he didn't do,
If he didn't do this, if he didn't do that, if he didn't do this, if he didn't do that.
cooperated with the police, he would still.
Or if he wasn't so fat, his
If he
organs
wasn't
wouldn't
so
hit his
fat, he
chest.
wouldn't have had a heart attack. You know,
If he wasn't on his neck, it wouldn't have got crushed.
Eric hit his father one day, and his father chased him down the block. Eric was laughing
Sure
so
did, 'cause he
hard
chased me.
because he said, "I didn't know Daddy could run." I said, "You didn't know." As big as he was, he ran.
So we got to take a pause because it's a school night, so I know that the fellas got to get back. But we want to thank you for coming out. And listen,